The more senior your role in the organization, the more you can be surrounded by yeses and agreement, which isn't great for the results of your organization or the job satisfaction of your team members. And I'm not talking about feedback about your leadership skills or your performance or your reputation. We can leave that for another video. I'm really talking about the dynamic of your senior leadership team. When you're talking about product changes, process improvements, and topics like that. There might be a few different reasons why we're surrounded by yes people. One of them is kind of a confirmation bias, where we can surround ourselves with people like us, who have like-mindedness and similar approaches. Another kind of obvious one is you're not asking for other people's opinions, or you're not facilitating a conversation that allows for healthy dialogue and healthy disagreement. A third reason, and I've seen this one a lot, is where someone has shared their opinion on the senior leadership team. They've shared that opinion with a top executive and it hasn't gone well. They have felt disrespected or that the response was condescending or dismissive. So they're less likely to share their opinion or certainly share their disagreement in the future. And it's not just the individual, it's everyone who observed that dynamic. I'm not going to let that happen to me, or I don't want to be embarrassed in the senior leadership team meeting. So it's so critical that you're building a culture of trust and facilitating a conversation that allows for the openness and the healthy dialogue and disagreement. And fourth, we have to remember that anytime someone is challenging a senior person, it's difficult. They recognize that you determine their pay, whether or not they have a job, whether or not they're promoted, whether or not they get different development opportunities. So there's going to be a hesitation. How then do you create an atmosphere that allows for healthy disagreement? And I think there's two aspects to this. One is self-leadership and the other is team leadership. One aspect to self-leadership is to partner with a coach who can interview senior leadership team members and get their perceptions of the dynamic, their comfort level, their belief of the trust that exists within the team. And they can share a summary of those interviews and those findings with you as a top executive so that you can increase your self-awareness about how you're showing up and how it's affecting the dynamic of the team. Another way to strengthen self-leadership and increase your self-awareness is to observe yourself, especially when someone is challenging you. How do you react? And we can often feel it in our bodies. As we envision that person challenging us, we can feel our throat tighten or our heart start to beat faster because we're ready to respond and fight and win the argument. And that might not be the best way to create the openness and healthy disagreement within your group. Another suggestion with the self-leadership is really to strengthen that muscle between your thought and your response. You want some space in between so you're not just reacting, you're thoughtfully responding, especially as a top executive, to maintain that composure and that openness within the senior leadership team. And if you're not used to that, it does take practice. It is a muscle that you can strengthen and build. And think about what might work for you. Is it good when you feel your body starting to respond to just take 3 deep breaths? Like even now, it relaxes the whole body. It can create some openness. And even if people observe you taking those deep breaths, that's a much better measured response than reacting. So taking deep breaths, or maybe you count from 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and do that in your head and then respond. Another suggestion is meditation. That helps strengthen the muscle as well between thought and response. And if you're doing meditation regularly, there's so many benefits, mind, body, spirit benefits to meditating. So that's another way to do it. And a fourth quick suggestion is to find a visible reminder. I actually have a rock that I got from my coaching school, and on one side it says problem and on the other side it says solution. Or it can be a bracelet that you wear, whatever it is, but having a visible reminder of how you want to show up as a team leader. And then there's team leadership, thinking about how you're helping to facilitate that conversation in the room. And there's one suggestion from Gallup in their latest book by Jim Clifton and Jim Harder, their book in 2019, It's the Manager. And their suggestion is to challenge every member of your team to present a dissenting idea. And what are the most likely short and long-term consequences of the decision? That way, each member of the team is responsible for providing their own individual dissenting idea that can really create a healthy dialogue. This video is really for you top executives to understand and increase your self-awareness about how you're showing up and how you might be either limiting or encouraging the healthy disagreement within your senior leadership team. Because we know that healthy dialogue, dissenting opinions can really lead to a better outcome. If you've got all like-mindedness and a lack of diversity and all agreement, that's not going to stretch and grow your organization and help it be successful. I'm Morgan Quist, I'm your Thrival Guide, and I partner with people to shift from surviving to thriving in their careers with a focus on self-leadership and team leadership. I encourage you to subscribe to my YouTube channel or follow me on LinkedIn. And if you have any suggestions about how your organization has encouraged the healthy disagreements and the healthy dialogue, please let me know. Building trust is such an important part of that. So I'm going to link to another video I did about how to build trust within the leadership area, and that might be helpful as well. Feel free to leave any questions or comments below this video, and I look forward to seeing you next time.